Mission presents The Story of Matthew by Helen Jeffrey. Episode 6, Feeding the Hungry.
Oh, you're home at last, Raybeth. I was wondering where you'd been.
Anna and I were at the market.
I thought you were never coming back.
Sorry, Matthew. I wasn't expecting you. Are you staying to eat with me? Shall I get Anna too?
Raybeth, I have just had an absolutely wonderful experience.
What happened, Matthew?
Jesus sent his pupils on a preaching tour, 2 by 2.
Did you go with Judas?
No, with Thomas.
Who's Thomas?
One of the fishermen. But Raybeth, it was great. Jesus had given us power to cast out demons, to heal sick people, to cleanse lepers.
And did you cast out the demons? I can't imagine it.
Yes, we did. I wouldn't have believed it myself, but oh, it was wonderful.
And where's Jesus now?
I'm on my way to join him again.
Matthew, hello.
Oh, here's Judas.
Hello, Matthew. Hello, Raybeth. How nice to see you both.
Glad to see you, Judas. Come and tell us how you got on.
Just as Jesus said we would.
You healed people and cast out demons.
We did. And we preached. I don't think many people repented, but anyway, we preached. Taken all in all, we had a good time and people were really amazed.
Raybeth, why don't you see if Anna could give us some bread and wine?
Oh, okay then. Don't tell all the wonders while I'm away, Judas.
She gets more lovely every time I see her. I see you've heard.
Heard what?
John the Baptizer.
What about him?
Herod had him beheaded.
Beheaded? But he was Jesus' herald.
Well, the Herod's role was finished, of course.
But Judas, are you sure it's true?
It's true, all right. My partner, Simon the terrorist, as you won't allow me to call him, he has a cousin in Herod's palace. He told us all about it just now, complete with gory details, blood dripping from the platter onto the ballroom floor.
Oh, what are you talking about, Judas?
This is very, very serious, Raybeth.
You're not afraid, are you, Matthew?
Why should he be afraid?
Because Herod has killed Jesus' cousin, John. That puts us all at risk. And think of it, while we were going round the villages having such a splendid time, John was...
Oh, don't get all worked up about it. It happened quite early on our tour. Shall we sit?
Yes, let's sit.
Judas, would you like some wine? Some bread too?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Matthew, yours is beside you.
Thank you. I wonder what made Herod decide now.
I think he'd heard about us preaching and it made him angry. Herodias, his wife, also hated John and she got even angrier than ever. She made up her mind she'd get rid of John.
Oh, Judas, please don't talk about it.
So it was partly our fault.
What do you mean?
Because we were stirring up the countryside. John had to die.
Oh, there you go again, feeling guilty. Snap out of it, Matthew. It was Jesus' responsibility to look after his herald.
Maybe Jesus had to hide because of the scribes and Pharisees being so much against him.
It could be. But if it gives you any joy, Herod's worse off now than ever. Since then, he's heard a lot more talk about Jesus, and he thinks it's John risen from the dead. Bad conscience. That's all that's wrong with that old fox.
Raybeth, excuse me a moment.
Yes, Matthew.
I must go and meet Thomas, and first I want to write down a few incidents.
What's he talking about, Raybeth? He's always talking about writing things down.
I know. He's very methodical. It's his way. He thinks he'll help.
Have you enjoyed your wine and bread?
Yes, thank you. You can take the plates and cups away now.
Oh, I can do that later, Miss Raybeth. I thought I might just sit down and do some sewing here for a while.
No, Anna, do them now.
Good idea, Raybeth. Thank you, Anna. That would be all for now.
Very well, Miss Raybeth. I'll do what you say.
Well done, Raybeth. You know, Matthew is always worrying about something. I try to get him to see the bright side. After all, we've just been proving that we've power over demons and disease.
But will it last? Will you always have that power?
Why not? If Jesus can give power for one tour, Why not always?
I don't know. It seems a bit frightening to me.
No need to fear me, Rabeth. I wouldn't hurt a hair of your little head.
No, I wouldn't be afraid of you or Matthew.
Good, that's what I like to hear.
But somehow I feel afraid for you. Casting out demons, raising the dead. This is something really big, isn't it, Judas?
Oh, I really do hope so, Rabeth. The chance of a lifetime, as I see it.
We better be on our way now, Judas. We've got to get to Bethsaida to meet Jesus before dark.
Oh, Matthew, must you go so soon?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Our time is not our own, you know.
I don't think I know what you mean, Judas.
One day you will. One day, as we ride past you with trumpets sounding before us, you'll say, "See those princes? I used to know them."
Oh, Judas, will it really be like that?
I don't think Jesus ever meant us to be like that.
Of course it won't be like that. I was only teasing. You'll be riding with us on your own horse.
Oh, but I can't ride. I'm afraid of horses.
Then the sooner you learn to ride, the better. Come on, Matthew. Let's go. Oh, I hope we don't do too much of this preaching and healing. I find it very tiring.
But look at Simon and his brother and the two Zebedies. They look very tired too.
They probably just heard about the baptizer.
Oh, of course. They were followers of John before Jesus came on the scene.
Oh, Master, Master! Oh, Master, Master, how could he do that? I just can't take that in.
I think that we need a break. Let's get away by ourselves to a lonely place where you can rest a while.
Good idea. Some of these lads haven't had time for a meal and there'll be no peace to eat here.
I wonder if Jesus doesn't ever get tired of the crowds.
I don't know. But don't forget the crowds are important to him, Matthew, if he's ever going to establish his kingdom. He'll hardly do it with 12 men.
I wonder where he's going to take us.
I hate to tell you, Matthew.
Why?
It's another boat trip by the look of things.
Oh, no. Oh, much good that did us.
Yeah, you had your boat trip for nothing. Look! The crowds are running along the shore. They'll be there just in time to meet us as we get off.
We've seen Jesus do a lot of wonderful things. Could he not have hidden us until we had this quiet rest and recovered from our preaching tours?
But Matthew, Jesus doesn't always see things the way we do.
I wish he would consider us from time to time.
Good. This is your group, Matthew, isn't it?
Yes, Andrew. 10 groups of 50, all with their women and children beside them.
And you, Judas?
Oh, over there somewhere. Such a mob.
Try and get them in some sort of order. Jesus said he wanted them sitting down in groups of 50.
It's sheer chaos, Andrew. As soon as I get one lot set down, another group decides the grass is wet or it's too stony and they start moving around again.
Make an effort, Judas. How can we feed them if they're wandering around like that?
And the children. They don't seem to be able to make their minds which group they belong to. It's no good, Andrew. I mean, if I had mine...
You'll have to do something. Matthew, as your groups are ready, come over here to Jesus and he'll give you the food for them.
How's he going to feed them? We've no bread.
Oh, we have a little. A young lad had 5 barley loaves and 2 little fish, which he gave to Jesus.
Barley loaves, little fish for 5,000. That works out at 1,000th of a barley loaf for each man, and even then he'd have to share with his family, and even less fish.
Jesus knows what he's doing. Philip started doing sums at the beginning and working out costs, but Jesus just seemed to want what the boy had. That's all he was interested in.
Well, I hope he's more than 1,000th of a barley loaf for each family, or they're going to be very hungry, aren't they? I wouldn't tell anyone, of course, and perhaps it's wrong of me even to think like this, but sometimes my part's disappointing. What would my parents think if they saw me now, after all my fine talk, my hard work learning to be a tax collector? I gave it up to be Jesus' pupil, and what am I learning? To hand out bread to hungry people too careless to provide for themselves? Jesus shouldn't feed them. It only encourages them. Oh, but I shouldn't be thinking like this. I mustn't let Rabeth ever know. She would say I should give up and come home. why do I not want to go home? If I had a chance to use my abilities even a little, if they'd asked me to keep the money, but no, Judas is doing that. They trust him more than they trust me. I wonder if they're wise. I wish he wouldn't hang around passing compliments to Rabeth the way he does. Oh, look how greedy these people are. They've eaten up all that first lot of bread already. They'll have to go back to Jesus for more. He should have sent them away. But then, he's not like that. I don't really want him to be that kind of man. If he was, he would have sent me away. I would be back home. I wonder what Rabeth would say. There. Oh, that hurt. Judas!
What's wrong with you, old misery? Still feeling seasick?
No, I'm not.
Well, you look terrible. You really needed that rest you didn't get. Here, I'll give you this lot of bread.
No, Judas.
Well, it'll save you climbing all that steep way back to Jesus. I can easily
No, Judas, that's for your groups. Take it to them. They're hungry. I'd really rather get my supplies directly from Jesus. It seems right somehow.
Have it your own way, Matthew. I only meant to help.
I know, but I think it really would be best this way. Is there still plenty of food left, Andrew?
Plenty for all.
My crowd seem to be very hungry. I'm afraid they're a bit careless too. Some of the pieces fell on the grass.
Don't worry. Jesus is still handing out more. I don't think he'll stop until he's sure everyone is filled.
The sooner the better, as far as I'm concerned.
I think we all feel like that. But you look very tired, Matthew.
I feel awful, but I'll be all right.
I expect you're not used to such an active life.
I suppose you being sitting in the tax office all day doesn't take much effort.
Oh, Matthew, don't be annoyed. I didn't mean it like that.
I wish I'd been something different. I don't like to hear Jesus being criticised for being the friend of tax collectors, all because of me.
Don't think of it that way, Matthew. The Pharisees are going to find something about Jesus to pick on. If it wasn't that, it would be something else. Jesus doesn't worry about it.
You think he really doesn't mind?
I don't know. It's hard to tell what he's thinking, but he tells us often enough not to worry about anything. And his pupils, well, we need to learn to be obedient.
Come in. Rabeth,
Why, Matthew, I didn't know you'd come home.
I didn't see you anywhere about, so I came up here to my room.
Can you stay?
Oh, don't ask me that every time, Rabeth. Judas was right when he said our time isn't our own.
But what are you doing? Still writing down things that Jesus does?
And things he says. Do you know what he said the other day? Every scribe who is trained for the kingdom of heaven is like a householder who brings out of his treasure what is new and old.
What is new and old? What did he mean?
Well, I think he was talking about how the prophets wrote about the Messiah hundreds of years ago. Those are the old things. And the things Jesus says and does, those are the new things.
So you really do think Jesus is the Messiah?
I do. And I know what I want to do. I want to be a scribe trained for the kingdom. Such a lot of things have happened since I saw you last. Wonderful things. How terrible if any of Jesus' teachings were forgotten. I must write them all down.
In Matthew, by Helen Jeffrey, Matthew was played by Mark Clenny, and Rabeth by Lauren Hutchison. Anna was played by Jenny Erskine, Judas by John Lander, Jesus by Paul Bailey, and Andrew was Mark Smith. The play was produced in Commission Studios in Belfast by Colin Flanagan. Episode 7 is entitled One Thing is Needed.